Hi, I am Naomi, known as Soong45 online, and I am on the Welsh Women's Dota Esports team. Well, in terms of taking part and participating in esports, I would say that only really started last year when I signed up for the Great British team in the Global Esports Games in Singapore. So before then, I'd only ever really been a spectator and maybe helped out on a few streams here and there, but nothing sort of as in-depth as this. Well, it's an opportunity to represent my country, which is something that I never thought that I would be able to do. And it's an opportunity to push and challenge myself, both sort of competitively within Dota and as sort of a personal experience. So it's been a little bit tricky as we were brought together specifically for this event, and finding 5 women that were considered to be Welsh to play on the team was a very difficult first step, which I think not all the home nations even managed. So even just managing that is a success in itself. And then all 5 of us are support players, so several of us are having to learn entirely new roles compared to what we're used to. So I'm having to learn mid, which is definitely challenging. Sort of a lot of the early game in particular is like learning a whole different game on top of the game that you're already playing. So it's, yeah, between that and people's various personal commitments and things as well, because quite a few of us have full-time jobs, so then trying to fit in everyone's practice times so that it all fits together has been a little bit difficult. But we've been doing our best with it. I'm a little bit nervous about them because I think going into this, based purely off the skill level and the numbers, we're sort of the most disadvantaged team going in, and sort of knowing several of the teams and having played with and against some of them before, there are some really great women that will be playing. So in terms of sort of being competitive and things, we'll go in and we'll do our best, and that's all we can do. So I'm considering it more of an experience and sort of pushing myself a bit more and getting to meet a lot of people within the scene. Well, some of it depends on how this event goes, I guess, but what I'd like to see is that it helps formulate a grassroots movement, particularly within sort of the home nations in the UK, to help drive up a new generation of players to a higher competitive standard. And then also for women in particular, sort of in the long term, I want it to get to a point where there isn't even necessarily a women's division, and that it's just accepted that there is the opens division and everyone is equally competitive within that. I hope that it'll provide more of a sort of competitive scene for Dota and things in particular, British esports scenes, and particularly some sort of grassroots things have been somewhat lacking over the years. So attracting a new audience in and being able to build up a sort of grassroots foundation is something that seems pretty exciting. If you see an opportunity, don't be afraid to just go for it, because the worst that happens is maybe it doesn't go so well, but no matter what, you will learn something from it, and it's better to have given it a try than to look back on it and have regret and think, I never tried this, I should have been able to do it. Just keep pushing yourself no matter how scary it seems. Well, I can see it sort of continuing to become a sort of bigger and more well-accepted thing. I think even compared to when I was growing up, you can see that there's a lot more sort of welcoming towards allowing people to play these competitive games. And I'm hoping that sort of grassroots scene will develop and that you can bring new and upcoming players to the forefront, particularly within Dota, which has been lacking that in the UK. Overall, in esports, I would say at the moment, no. There is a level of improvement being made, but sort of quite often women are sort of seen as sort of separated, or any woman that makes it into the standard competitive environment is subjected to a significantly more scrutiny, which is incredibly unfair and puts them at a disadvantage compared to any of their male peers going in at the same sort of level and time. So I want it to become more equal in future, but it's not there yet. It's not a place where I ever thought that I would be, or something that I ever thought I'd end up doing, but if I inspire people or help give them the belief that they could do something like this, then I'm entirely for it, because I am not the most confident person, and seeing more women and people in general sort of taking the plunge and going into this and showing that it's for anyone is sort of, I hope I can give that to other people. I'd like for a lot more of things that are sort of sexist and racist and homophobic and things to be called out more frequently, because I've seen this very recently as an issue within Dota. There is sort of, you have nice little communities, but it's sort of all in its own little bubble in a way. And then every now and then something happens and you sort of have this horrible little bubble of some parts of the community that are normally ignored that sort of rears its ugly head, and then you realise, oh, these people are sort of part of the community in general. We can do better than this. We shouldn't accept and be quiet about this all the time just because nothing in particular's cropped up drama-wise. It should be called out consistently and shown that it's not acceptable.